Welcome to the Empowering Industry Podcast, a production from Empowering Pumps and Equipment as the voice of the pump and related equipment industry. Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 56 of the Empowering Industry Podcast. I'm your host, Charli Matthews, and I'm joined by my co-host, Bethany Womack.
Hey, Charli. Thanks for having me here today with you. It's always a highlight of my week doing the show, but I'm most excited that our listeners are here also enjoying what I think is going to be a really good episode with a lot about marketing today. So, spoiler. But as always, thanks for choosing us. Leave a rating and review, yada, 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 all of those things that really helps our show. This week, we're going to cover something in social media, preview the news from Empowering Pumps and Equipment, and then connect you with an industry influencer. But we'll start like we do every week. And Charli, how was your week?
I had a good week. I had a tennis game yesterday that really wiped me out. I hadn't played in a little while. And so, I was just having a good day. So I was feeling the energy, and it was really fun to kind of score some points against the coach. He played with us. So that was fun. But, I can feel it today. Speaking of coaches, we've had such a great week of, just talking with our leaders, talking with Rob and Mike. And it's just been, leadership week, and it's been phenomenal. So lots of stories, lots of fun that I can go into, but listen to the episodes, right?
Yeah.
That's one thing that we want to highlight is our leadership episodes. Before we get there, Bethany, how was your week?
Well, I mean, that's right on topic. I feel like a lot of my week has been a lot of focus on the podcast, and we had that bonus episode come out, and it's a really good product and really good episodes to listen to. I always feel weird saying that because I think they're all good. I think you should listen to all of our episodes all the time. But the last three, I guess you could kind of call them like our
a special on leadership,
series,
right?
Yes. Yeah. Like a 3-episode arc for leadership series that I really enjoyed all of those interviews. They're the last 3 episodes, so you can find them in your feed. But if you haven't listened to them, they're really great, and you should go back and listen to them. And I just realized, for my week, I don't know what even happened this week. All of a sudden it's Friday, and I what did I do?
Well, I can tell you because I've been following your Instagram.
Okay,
and it's been so fun. If y'all don't do this, then y'all are missing out, because she sends us these little stories out there, and we get to see her interacting with her boys and her family. One thing that happened was she posted about her son, and her dad plays the piano, and the son, Bowen, is playing this little guitar. Okay. And it is the cutest thing I've ever seen. And I was like, can you please send me more of that? Because it's awesome. So my week is made better by Bethany's week. And she did do a lot of editing and sending out stuff for our leadership, not just the podcast itself, but also we had different summits and different promotions and graphics and galore there on Bethany's side. So she did a lot of work.
Thank you.
Yeah. I do want to point out and tell you a little bit about each episode if you missed them. The bonus episode with Knighton, it's Griff, so Mike Griffith. He talks a lot about going back to work, and you really need to think about this, because these titles really aren't saying, hey, industry, but these guys are from the industry. They're doing the work. They're out there. And specifically, Griff says, it's different to kind of go back out and be in front of people. So he's going to talk to you about what they did. Unboxing leadership with Mike Schwartz, great leader in the industry. So excited to have the opportunity to talk with him. And, he's been in the fluid sealing industry, and that's where I met him at the FSA. Shout out FSA. And, it means a lot. And then y'all know Ralph. There's another leader that we can bring on here, Ralph. But Rob Kalwarowski, it was my leadership coach, and really has helped bring attention to the mental health side of leadership. And this kind of ties in with Mike said, these emotions, these things that we keep are holding us back or getting in our way. And he really goes through that and how we can, become better leaders. And I have heard that there are some people that are watching these episodes more than once. So yeah, so they're good. So I have to just tell y'all, like, if we know one of them is really good, go back and take a listen to it, and
For sure.
looking forward to getting into that. So go ahead, Bethany. I think it's time to get social.
This is where we're going to talk to you about something you need to know involving social media, or something I saw on social media that I want to share with you. But first, we want to talk to you about how you can actually get social this week.
Yes. Tomorrow, if you're listening to this when the podcast comes out, we are going to have the Empowering Brands meetup. That's Tuesday, May the 18th. Every third Tuesday, we're having these at 3 p.m. Central Time. Also, just a note, we are going to do a morning session coming up soon because we're missing all of our European friends, and they let me know. And so I love that.
It's nice to be missed.
It is, and we miss them. So the other meetup that we have scheduled is going to be the Empowering Women's meetup. It's going to be June the 9th, and that's every second Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Time. So join us. We absolutely love to get social with you. So come on.
Yeah. Pre-register. I'll have the link in the show notes. So you can be emailed the Zoom link, and we'll have our cameras on, ready to introduce ourselves. We love to see your smiling face as well. So
yeah.
Hop on.
On that note, also, we like to get mentioned. So if you want to mention us at Empowering Pumps or using the hashtag Empowering Industry Podcast, we'll give it back to you. We'll mention you as well. So I actually do really like the shout outs. Now, I've had some secret shout outs this week from Vince. So Vince, for some reason, your name would not come, your last name would
Vince
not come out of my mouth. I know. Yes, I know your name, but it wouldn't come out of my mouth just then. But anyway, Vince, thank you for listening to our episodes, giving us the feedback, and encouraging us every day. So thank you for that. With that,
and check out our YouTube, because Vince has some Lunch and Learn video, and we're planning to put another one out next week too. So, so those are fun also. Okay. On to our main topic that we're going to talk about for social, which I'm going to have to jump ahead a little bit and say that this topic was inspired by your interview that you did today. You talk all about marketing and the importance of marketing for the industry with Deepak. And so I wanted to prep our listeners for that conversation where he talks about really knowing your customer. And I pulled this great article from B2B Marketing titled 7 Things You Need to Know About Your Customer.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is, it is to our marketers out there to make sure that you know the customers, but it ties straight into sales, which I love, right? And sales and marketing work together. So this article,
and even outside of that, it's like you learn in the interview, he talks about how it's such a vital role to the company as a whole. So really, no matter where you are, you need to be thinking of these things and finding a good marketer, like he says.
Absolutely. So, yeah. Absolutely. 100%. Okay. So the first one is, from this article that we've included in the show notes, what is their biggest professional challenges? So when you're thinking about your customer, what are they struggling with? What problems can you help them solve? And I think that this is how you position yourself as a thought leader, a trusted advisor, so that they can come to you and ask you, what should I do here? This is what we're trying to accomplish. Listen to that and say, okay, what can you offer? If you don't know the answer, you can always look for the answer and then provide that resource for people. So make sure that you get as much feedback about the product or the situation as you can in order to give them feedback, right? Give them, when they tell you what their struggle is and their challenge, how can you help with that? Who can you talk to? What books can you read? What thing can you Google to make sure that how to be there to support your customers' biggest professional challenges?
For sure. Number 2 on the list is know who their customers are. So just as much time as you spend thinking about your customers and who you need to sell to, they spend that time thinking about their customers and who they need to sell to. And if you can kind of think those 2 steps ahead, and what they might need, whose attention they're trying to attract, what their value proposition is, that'll help give you a deeper insight into their needs and understand how your product can help them more and what the main points that you can use to sell them the product are. And this made me think of game theory. It's my new nerdy thing that I'm into. And I've also got some ideas floating around about how game theory could be used for marketing and social media. So maybe stay tuned for that. And
I need to know a little bit more about game theory. I mean, come on, tell me a little bit more about it.
So it's a study of mathematical models of strategic interaction among rational decision makers. I think it was developed back in like the Cold War to basically especially in like international affairs to predict how different countries will react to different things. And one of the things is if you can get in the head of the other person and understand what they want out of the situation and convince them that what you want is what they want, then you get a mutually beneficial results. It's all super nerdy. I'm just kind of diving into it and learning about it, but I think it's really neat. And this specific one made me think of that. So please send me your articles. Leroy, I know you're listening and you probably know something about game theory because you're a smart person, but let me know what you think because I want to learn more about it.
Yes, I love that you should give him a shout out because he has been just so great about giving the breakdown and review and inspiring me. So I love this. It's kind of the study of people, right? And how they think. And that falls right into play with what we want to do and helping them get to their goals. So number 3 is think about their career aspirations. I think this is so key. And I've had a lot of people kind of reaching out recently. Think about, I guess, long-term investment in people, right? And understanding their personal and their professional goals will help you understand how you can help them, right? So you can understand, the people that, and that allows you to be able to sell better, right? To sell them something that they need that can advance their career. For example, I love bringing on people here onto the podcast who may need a story, may need to tell their story, right? So that they can position themselves the way that they need to for success. And so that always, helps me. And, anytime that you're, thinking about somebody in maybe a junior or mid-level position, they may not have a lot of swag, right? Or they may not be able, I said swag, but sway people to understand where they're trying to go, right? So be a resource for them. Look for ways that you can inspire them and point them in the right direction. Even if they're, not in your company, they still, or not even your customer, right? We were talking about earlier, your customer's customer. If you understand all of that together and how that works, how this person can help build another person's career, how this person can help with a product launch of some kind, how can you connect those people? And then one other note, we work with a lot of different people who, they may change jobs, they may go to a different company. And I think it's really important to know it doesn't matter which company they work for. As an individual, we understand kind of their value, if you will, and what they're trying to accomplish in a grand scheme of things. And so no matter what, that long-term investment in people, no matter what company you work for.
And how many new customers or new partners have we gotten because our contact went to a different company?
Absolutely.
And
so many different examples.
Working with it, And so all the salespeople will know that for sure. And as you're thinking of these things in marketing, think of it that way too. Is this, emotional connection, like we talked about on the leadership stuff, and investing in people. Number 4 is knowing which of your competitors your customer is working with and why. And so you've done your SWOT analysis, your strengths and weaknesses, who your competitors are, and you know what you think their strengths and weaknesses are. But what you need to do is look at it with an empathetic eye through your customer's lens. So see what they're saying. And so you can do that by looking at social media posts or online forums or other places where they're interacting with your competition. And, then also you could talk to your sales team about seeing if they pick up on anything in these conversations with prospects. And then you can look at their marketing and say, maybe they just do something like the way they talk to the customer in their emails, for example, is a lot more personal than what you're doing. And you can evaluate implementing changes that you think would be better.
Yeah, it also made me think about collaboration with competitors. I think there's room for that. I'm seeing that a lot more, looking for ways to collaborate together for a common goal. So you may see something in one of your competitors and be like, we could work together on this and be stronger. So that's also something to look at. Number 5, their impression of your brand. So what is your customer's impression of the brand? So I like to do this. I love that we're talking about a mystery shopper, but I like to think about it as a good stalker. So I do that for my own company.
Good stalker. I love it.
Yeah. I do it for other companies. I say, follow us. I love a good stalker. So we're looking at what somebody would pick up on as your brand. What does that look like? So, look at your website, look at your social channels, look at how people are responding through telephone calls or emails, right? Like, how are people responding to your messages? I think that is really important. And don't forget that we're looking at this through our customer's eye. So you do have to kind of put another hat on and think, what would my customer think about this? A better situation is, what would my customer's customer think about this? And so that actively listening on social, tracking how people are talking about your brand, look for common themes. I think it's really important, and look for, who's mentioning you and mentioning your customers so that you can understand that better.
Perfect. The 6th thing on the list of things you need to know about your customer is you need to know where you're usually going to find them. So that's talking about, what conferences are they going to attend, both virtual and in person. We have our big ones in the industry that we know about, that we know that our customers are going to be at, but also listening if there's new ones or other ones they're going to be attending. Also, then where they go to look for content news in the industry, which I know a great news place for the industry. Empoweringpumps.com. You can get your newsletter delivered to your inbox twice a week. And then thinking, social media, they're going to be on Facebook and LinkedIn and some of the bigger things, Twitter, but then also thinking about some of the niche social media places they might be at, like Pinterest. I know you and Michelle did an episode about Pinterest and how to use that for the industry. Maybe they're on a subreddit, which I asked my LinkedIn today if any of them use Reddit for industry things, because I've been looking at it more and seeing, it's niche, it's small, but it might be somewhere that you can find your customers and listen, be an active listener, be an active participant in those conversations. There's just another way to connect.
Yeah, I've seen it, and I know I've been on there, been off of there, but there definitely is some conversations and some pump related conversations for sure. I tagged Patrick Hogue on that and said, because he's the one that introduced me to Reddit as an engineer. So look for that and his response. Okay, number 7 is, who our customers' influencers are, and I think this is really important. Who are they following? Who do they trust? Who are they interacting with? You can see by what they are retweeting, what they're sharing and liking. So pay attention to your customers and who is interacting with them and who they, care to interact with, right? So this is going to help you kind of build relationships with them by building relationships with their influencers. So I think that you should look to earn trust of both. And you do that by sending out messages that are relevant to them. One thing that I can say about this influencer space is when you start interacting with a powerful influencer, right? And you're adding value back and forth, you can't help but see that as, observers of LinkedIn. And I have experienced this with Sam Gupta, and you'll see this later in a later episode, but okay, I'm going to check this person out. I'm going to try to understand what they're doing and what they stand for and how that could relate to our business. So the pump industry, if you will. And if you have that open mind and you're looking at those influencers in that way, you can tie people, your customers, into that and figure out how that person can help your customer. So I really think it's a great tool. It's open to everybody. And I guess I have one last thing to add, and that is, people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. And so trust being the key there. But I think that, we can be that person, on online and offline, that people can know, like, and trust. And I just, hope that you'll do that.
Yes,
Any
100%. Well, and when you were talking about influencers, it reminded me that a lot of what we talk about is helping people, our listeners, becoming those thought leaders in the industry. And so that's helping you become that influencer, that person who's driving change in the industry, talking about the topics you want to get discussed. And that's, putting yourself out there, talking it, like trying to get on podcasts and being an interview on a podcast, sharing relevant articles, writing for relevant places. And that's what I hope, if you're here to get out of this, that's what I hope we're helping give you the tools to do so.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I think that you're going to get better at it every day. You're going to get better at listening. You're going to get better at picking the right people to interact with. You're going to get better at being an influencer yourself. So here's just a couple tools with the customer in mind. And so don't click off yet. The interview is coming.
For sure. But before we get there, we are going to preview the news. In the news, this segment, we're previewing the news from the Empowering Pumps and Equipment newsletter that will be delivered to your inbox twice this week. If you're not signed up, you can sign up for that in the show notes. We're going to start out with our person of the week, who is Don Leas. He's the VP of Sales for Pi Barker Engineered Solutions.
Yeah, and he has a really interesting story. I mean, he started working in the field at age 11. His dad was in the business and kind of taught him along the way. They were in Lebanon. I'm not sure if that's where they were at the time, but I think it's amazing. He was learning about pumps and valves and boilers from his dad, and he's still working in this industry today, selecting and pricing equipment. So I just think it's really cool to have that family background. I keep hearing these stories. So I think you'll enjoy it.
I feel like it's a common theme in this industry too. You definitely have new people that come to the industry all the time and they're seeing how great it is. But then there's those people who talk about being at a water treatment facility plant at 4 and thinking it was awesome with their family. I think that was Ari who was telling us that.
I was just telling Carter this the other night.
Yeah.
I was saying people grow up there and they love it and it's their life. And so, it's so true.
Cool. You can check out this person of the week. There's a link in the show notes. Also, check out all of the people on our website, and you can nominate someone that you know. It's super easy. You just put their name and email. We'll contact them and do all the rest for you.
Yeah, please do that. We need some more nominations for this. And so look forward to seeing those come through. Like she said, it's easy. So I'll be waiting.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the news story that I wanted to talk about today is Hydrocell shows versatility with pumping and aggressive chemicals. It's an article by Wanner. Sorry, I wasn't quite sure if I said the company name right. Sorry. Thank you. It's an article by Wanner. So there's a manufacturer of drilling fluids for the oil industry, and they were having problems with pulsating pumps and leaking seals. And to solve the problem, they installed 4 Hydrocell D10/G10 pumps with corrosion-resistant polypropylene heads were installed to help solve these problems that the chemical manufacturer was finding. The sealless design means that there are no mechanical or dynamic seals to leak, wear, replace. And so this is really a case study on the effectiveness of this product and how it helped this one manufacturer. If you want to read the rest of it, you can click on our show notes and read the specifics about the pumps and what specs they offer, and see if it would work for you.
That's awesome. Great job, Bethany. And I'm going to talk about using power sensing to monitor your pump and protect your pump. This is from Load Controls. They've been giving us some really great resources. And so thank you, Load Controls, and Michael McClurg for doing that. Pumps, they play a increasingly important role in today's manufacturing. We all know that. We know that the global market for pumps is over $60 billion, and it is expected to grow 6% into the future, which is shocking. Amazing.
Yeah. Every time I hear that, I'm like, I know this. I've read these numbers before, but that's Huge.
Yes. And so it's so important to understand that, to understand what's happening with our pumps. So proactive monitoring and maintenance is important to avoid, costly replacements, downtime. We don't want any of that. And so we want to, figure out these ways to use a monitoring system to provide feedback. And so Load Controls has that down, and they have this white paper to tell us all about it. So one thing that they do, and I like to point out, is that, the pump power measurements can be a fundamental role. And I think that that's important to understand. And again, they have been sending us some awesome resources about how to monitor and maintain the pumps. And this is one of the tools that we can use. And so I want you to encourage you to kind of download this white paper and see what you're doing as far as monitoring your pumps and equipment. So great resource.
Awesome. Now we're going to get into the interview. You've outdone yourself today, Charli, finding Deepak for us. I really enjoyed his interview, and it might be, because I'm marketing. That's my primary lane in this industry. And but like you said before, even if you're not marketing, it's a great listen to understand how it works in the industry and the importance of it. I'll stop introducing him and I'll let you do that since you actually talked to him and you know him. I'm just fangirling over here. I need to add him on LinkedIn is what I'm hearing.
Oh, you absolutely do. And so this is Deepak. He's the director of product marketing, marketing intelligence, and ERM at Flowserve Corporation. Most recently, we all know the campaign RedRaven. If you haven't, then you haven't been connected with us. And so do that at Empowering Pumps. But it's so good. Okay. It's a wonderful story of marketing and the importance of marketing and his ability to, adapt from being an engineer to marketing and understanding the products and the customer. We talked a lot about the customer because of this interview, and he understands all of those elements and has really used that to build one of the best campaigns I've seen. I mean, I have to say that RedRaven is thought out. I mean, for y'all that don't know, the Raven is wisdom, okay? And that just ties into what they're doing over there with the intelligent pumping and monitoring, and it's just so good. Okay, so without further delay, right? Let's go.
Push and play.
I'm so excited that you're here with me, Deepak, and I have been wanting to have this conversation for a long time. So thank you for joining me. We are going to dig in today. So let's start with just who you are and what you do.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot for the opportunity, Charli. I know our relationship goes back to 5 years, 7 years now. And I still remember the day when I met you at the trade show. I believe it was Acama or somewhere. I believe it is Acama that I met you, and we had a very good conversation that day. And right then, I know this is somebody I want to continue my conversation with, because you came across so knowledgeable on the pump side, which happens to be my background as well. And we had so much to share during that conversation. And since then, we have been continuously conversing on how the pump industry has been changing and how different players are coming into the industry, how they are offering, and how the digital world has shaken up the industry. So I'm really excited for this conversation and look forward to have a very productive conversation with you today.
Yeah, and I think it was Texas A&M's the TPS show because I remember the exhibitor lounge. But you know how we are; we go to so many different events, but definitely a lot of pump talk around that event. But I can see we went to the exhibitor lounge and had like a sit down meeting, and that was unique, right? And I think that was really important to kind of get to know each other. And you were doing some really amazing things there at Flowserve. So just to talk about that. So your background, tell everybody kind of what you're doing there.
Yeah. So my background, it goes a long way. I started my career as an engineer. In fact, I did my bachelor's in mechanical engineering. As soon as I did my bachelor's in India, and as soon as I did it, I came to US to do my master's in mechanical engineering. For those who are hearing this, I would suggest that you get some experience before do your master's, because when I did my master's, I could not leverage it fully because I did not have any industrial experience at that time. But anyway, I did my master's and I got into a couple of engineering related roles. I started my career actually in the telecommunication industry. I worked for GE and a couple of other companies. And it was a very good experience for me right at the beginning because in addition to engineering, I also did project management. Project management gives you the experience on the different facets of the project. It's not just one function, it's all the functions that you connect with. You sort of work very closely with other functional leads and to see how they are working, what are some of the deliverables that they do, and what goes behind creating those deliverables, because all that plays a part in completing the project. So it really gave me that level of exposure. And then when I was working for this company named CommScope, that I got a great opportunity to do my MBA. In fact, CommScope sponsored my MBA, and they wanted me to move from engineering, product management to more into business side roles. And so that's how I got into marketing, where marketing was my primary focus during MBA. And since then, my life has changed. I became so passionate about marketing, all the things that marketing has to can do to a company. It's such a function that brings in the core of your technical expertise. If you are a good marketer, you can use your technical expertise to really pitch the product, and also it gives you the opportunity to work very closely with customers, which I am very passionate about.
You know what? I think that there is an element of this, that having that engineering background, going into product manager, and then marketing, it's a natural evolution because you understand the products and you understand the process. And so now, okay, I can write, I can influence, what's being sent out as far as messaging around that product. So I want to talk about marketing and kind of that technical side.
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe that I've done it. When I started my company, I was in sales and I had to learn a whole lot of marketing, and hats off to real marketers, right? I always say I'm not a real marketer. I just own a marketing company, because it takes a lot of work and process to get things lined up. So tell us a little bit about it from your perspective.
Yeah, Charlie, you tickled a nerve, and I'm very passionate about this topic. And when I think back about how I got to where I am, I'm really happy about how my career began and how I got into some of the roles that helped me position my career this way. So to specifically answer your question, I think marketing when you ask person about what marketing is all about, the first thing they say is, oh, it's very splashy. You create all this splashy collaterals. You come in the video, you create video. You don't really need to know anything, but you still get all the acknowledgement for
what you just make it pretty, right?
Yeah, exactly. But there is so much behind marketing that people do not know, and you will not know that until you get into that role. And I've been a marketer. I have led a team of marketers. So I think it is really important for you to become a good marketer. That's why I keep using the word good marketer, because you can also be all the things that people think you are, which is just creating splashy things and just stop there, right? But what goes behind creating that? If you are a good marketer, you will immediately go put yourself in the shoes of the customer. It is really important because what you are doing, what you are developing is going to be pitched to the customers. And so you want to really know how it can make the impact. For that, you need to understand what customers are looking for today. And most of the time when you're talking to a customer, maybe the voice of customer is not going to go into the details. They are going to give a very high level pain point. So this is where your technical expertise would come in, because you are taking that high level pain point and now you are trying to understand what's underneath that. What could have caused this? What could have caused that? Getting to the root cause of that problem. This is where your technical background, and this is where my engineering background came to the fore, where I could get to that level of detail, because you don't get a lot of opportunities to go in front of customer. And if you are just hearing the pain and coming back and telling your engineering team, hey, customer has this pain, engineering team is going to come up with like 5 to 10 different questions. And you probably will need to go back to the customer, again, get another viewpoint, then come back. And then, so for you to have that background, to ask all those questions, to uncover the core problem, that makes a difference between a general marketer and a real good marketer. And if you don't really talk to the language that the customer is looking for, and if you're not solving their pain, no matter how splashy, how glamorous your pitch is, it's not going to work. Customer needs value, and you can create the value only if you know and fully understand their pain.
Well, that is such a great point. And, we've talked about this so much in our industry because, at times people might hire an agency and put stuff together, and we have to work with them and they don't know anything about the product. And we saw that, right? And so we encourage everyone to learn as much as they can about a product and their customer. Like you said, when I remember this, somebody asked me like, do you know about WefTech? And I'm like, how could you not know about WefTech? And or same for like Pump Symposium, right? Like you can't really say things like that and still have credibility within the industry. So I'm similar to, what is a centrifugal pump versus a positive displacement pump? You really need to understand that in order to have a good conversation about that. But I think what you said about, having that background, wanting to solve a problem for the customer is so important. And I love doing that. I walk around those trade shows trying to learn all that stuff. And like you said, you've got to do it up front. You've got to have those conversations up front and know what questions to ask and be prepared. And so I think you have a benefit to doing that because you understand that from the engineering side, the product side. And I always wondered about the project management side of things and what that does to kind of lead. Because I know just walking around events, right? If I get to talk to a product manager, they know all of the stuff, right? So they can go into details. And so that's kind of where you start, you understand it. And then, okay, what are you working on as far as marketing right now? What's the message you're trying to get out after you understand the problem or the product is what I meant to say. So, okay. So you've got that. You've done this so well. And this is why I love talking marketing with you, because I can look at all the campaigns that you've done since I've met you, and they're just beautiful. Yes, but they're also strategic. So what does it look like? What do you start? What's your starting point in marketing?
Yeah, I think the starting point is knowing your customer. I think if you do not really understand who the audience is, what the pain of the audience that you're pitching your marketing, I think it's a trap that you will immediately fall in and you will fail. So the starting point is know your customer and have a very good relationship with sales. I think this is where an organizational culture becomes really important, because you put a very good marketer in an organization where sales and marketing are not talking to each other. That's a good recipe for failure. It's almost like you're spending so much on marketing, getting the best talent out there, but then you are not providing the platform that talent to succeed.
Does that still happen?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's something that a lot of organizations go through, right? I mean, I don't think any organization has found the perfect recipe of bringing that relationship, but organizations over the last few years have realized this and they're starting to do better. I can tell you from my organization that I'm working for today, we understood this about 3-4 years ago when marketing was doing their own ways and sales was going their own way. It just doesn't work, right? Because sales is talking to customer and they are talking about certain problems, while marketing is doing their own thing, doing their promotions, campaigns, which are not talking to the sales current problems, and you are almost causing more harm to your reputation than doing more benefits, because the customer is getting message from different angles and these messages are conflicting to one another. So it's really important that you work with create an environment where sales and marketing would come together and would be working towards a common goal. That is why it is also important when I said know your customer and talk to your customer along with sales, so that you both are hearing the same and you are also acting on the same problem that you are hearing from the customer, rather than going in different angles. So I think those two are really critical and important for any marketer and any organization to succeed with their marketing function.
Yeah, I really agree with that. And I think that, even more so today than before with the pandemic and how we have connected people through different automated processes, and also just the technology itself coming towards more digitalization, looking at those and how people communicate and how we get responses through marketing and what we can do with those to help the sales team now and vice versa. It's really has changed. And I see that we've got to understand at the top level how important marketing is, and, having a great team and allowing them to then talk to your sales team or your business development team, the C-suite even, okay? Marketing is so important to that process so that we get the messaging right and really are seen as caring for the customer. We hear you. This is what our marketing says, right? It says, I hear you. I'm going to solve this for you. We're here for you. And you can contact us anytime. Like, what is it that they need to hear from you? And then if you don't really understand as salesperson, I like to use this example because this is how I feel, that you need to do that on the front end and before everything is set up with marketing, not at the very last end. And then they're trying to change everything that the marketing team has put together. Because I would do that. I would be like, why can't you throw that ad in the newsletter? And I realize it's already planned out. It's about to push send. And so you're asking your marketing team to go redo everything. And I know nobody wants to do that, right? Nobody wants to waste time and energy. As an organization, we shouldn't want to waste time and energy. And so just having the conversation early. I mean, what, from your perspective, what do you see as far as, how can we make an impact in this marketing realm? What can we do better?
I really think, when it comes to understanding customer problem and then reacting to that, right? The marketing could also do the homework. I think what I tell my team all the time is, before you set up a meeting with a customer, please do your homework. You know where the industry is heading. What are some of the common challenges that industry is going through? We are in a pandemic world right now. We know exactly what companies are. They are having hard time keeping up. They're not spending. Their capex dollars are kept on hold, and because there is an uncertain future. So in these scenarios, you are not going to expect a customer to have problems related to expanding a new plant. It is more about operational expenses, right? How to keep the plant up to date? How can they increase the productivity from their existing equipment? So do your homework, understand what the industry is going through. Take some level of new knowledge or new information to the customer. Whether the customer receives that or do they ignore it, that's up to them. But you need to have that in your fingertips to let them know, hey, here is a similar customer who is having issues. They are having this problem X, problem Y. I'm pretty sure that you are probably going through the same kind of issues. Is that right? Validate some of the problems. Your time in front of the customer is very limited now in the pandemic world, and most of the time you're talking virtually. One thing is good about virtual meeting is that you are getting full time of customer. Customer is not distracted as much, but at the same time, it's also hard to get in front of customer because the customer also has meetings one after another. We all go through that, right? So it's very hard to get in front of customers. So when you get there, do your homework, tell them something that they would benefit from, and then ask your questions so that you are also maximizing your benefit from the time that the customer put for you.
Yeah, I love that. If we can all look to add value to others, then I think we would all be, much better. But I like the aspect, and I think this is kind of your background to here too, understanding the business, like all aspects of business and, what's happening in the marketplace, what's happening in the world, paying attention. And so nobody's going to pay you to do the extra work, to grow, or they might, but still put in that extra time to really make a difference. And I think that's where the differentiator is
Absolutely.
Looking for people who absolutely love it and want to do better. And I definitely see that in you. I've seen some really just your posts in your latest campaign that went out. You had your energy in it. You were seeking and looking for ways that you could really get this information out to the market, and it was important to have key stakeholders see it, right? So that it could provide feedback. And I mean, I just recently had somebody contact me based on the engineering and IoT summit that we did, and said, I want to, they remembered you.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was great. I'm not sure what their question was as far as what they wanted to talk about, but they remembered you. And I think that's important. And so Charli, would you encourage people to do that?
But I think that it's a very good point that you're making there, which is you need to have enough knowledge and intelligence about the market that you're serving. And you need to build that trusted relationship with the customer. Imagine going in front of the customer, giving them a piece of information about the market that they are playing in, that they are learning from that interaction. You immediately create that bonding with your customer. They start seeing you as a subject matter expert. They start seeing you as a trusted advisor. Once you build that level of bonding and relationship with the customer, that's when your time, the next 15 minutes when you are talking to the customer, having them open up about some of the issues that they are facing becomes really valuable, and they are really opening it up now because they see that you are somebody who can support them. You are somebody, because in this world everybody is reaching out to the customer. When I say I want to do VOC, competitor X, Y, Z, everybody wants to do the same thing. And so how do you stand out from that crowd? This is where you got to do your homework. Go to the customer with some information that they can make use of. That's how you win that trust with that customer. I think that is very critical. And thanks for highlighting that. And this is why my team, it sort of started as a product marketing team, and then it grew into more of a market intelligence gathering team. And so now we have brought both of them together, where there's a team who is collecting all the market intelligence, passing it on to the product marketing. Product marketing works with sales very closely, and we are going in as a package to the customer and telling them, here is what we have seen in the market today. Here is where the industry is heading. Here are the common problems in the industry. What do you face? Or does this resonate with you? What are you facing today? Can you please share your problems with us? Because we also have some possible solutions for these problems. So that has worked out really well for us, and it's something that I would recommend any company who is any B2B company who is putting together a solution and launching something new to really follow.
I love that. I can feel the passion through it. And that's why I love talking to you. So one of the things that I was thinking is just, what would you tell people kind of getting into the industry? You've been in all areas of it, so what would you give is for, I'll say, the pump industry. I know that we have valves and seals and a lot of other components there, but for the pump industry, what would you tell somebody is coming in, or thinking about coming into the industry?
Yeah, regardless of where you are coming in, try to expand your overall knowledge about pumps. One thing is understanding how the pumps work, the technical details of the pump, right? It's always good for you to have the background about how the pump operates. But in addition to that, understand the supply chain aspects of it. How is a pump being made? Who are the partners that you're working with? How can you build relationship with them? Because the operations of the pump is not made out of simple stuff. There are a lot of partners who are playing a part in it, and all that becomes critical, because when you become a marketer and you are talking intelligently with your customer, you want to provide them the knowledge. Say, for example, today's customers are all very conscious about the environment. They want to have products that has been built that are carbon free, not with a lot of emissions to the environment, because they all work towards building a sustainable environment for us. So having that knowledge, telling them that we are working with vendors who also have the same goals, and this is how the products are, the supply chain has worked, and then this is a product that is completely green. It may not be 100% green, but it could be 80% green. But have that knowledge at the back of your hand. So understand fully the optics of how a product is being made. I think that is going to serve a good. That's why I believe a marketer shouldn't look at marketing as the only job. The marketer has the responsibility, because marketing is customer facing, and you need for a good marketer to have a full understanding of the 360 degree of how a product is being made, how all the different players come into it, how the supply chain works, how the manufacturing footprint works, how the different operations come together to build that product. I think having that knowledge is critical, so that again, go in front of the customer, use that valuable time to the maximum impact. And you can do that by enriching your knowledge, not just about product features, but also how the product is built, how the product is made, who are all playing a part in it, how are they playing a part in it, how can you optimize those resources. So I think that's one thing I would tell anybody who wants to become a successful marketer and also expand the career beyond that. Just don't limit yourself to the area that you're coming in, but expand your spectrum. Just learn everything related to the product.
Yeah, that's great advice. And I feel like that's what has allowed me to kind of change and adapt and do all kinds of different things, with our company, is just the openness and understanding and listening to the customer and saying, okay, well, maybe we need to create this because this is something that would help them. And so I think I just am so glad that we had this conversation. And I think, it'll continue. One of the things that we really want to do is highlight that importance of understanding the business and understanding how marketing can really help people succeed moving forward. As we've been talking, has there been something that kind of comes up or anything else that you want to leave our listeners with?
Yeah, I think what is equally important is also how you are branding your product, right? So as a marketer, it's really important that when you are coming up with an innovative solution into the market, and we talked about supply chain and operational aspects, but also important is keeping up to date with the technology, right? Technology is heading in a direction, and you have to keep up with it. Where is it going? Pumps of today and pumps of tomorrow, how are they going to be different? Whether you add smartness to that pump, right? Change from a traditional pump to a smart pump. I think it's really important to have the technical background and have the technology, how it's progressing, having the deeper knowledge and passing it on to customer where you are seeing it is heading. It really helps you build in the trusted relationship with customer. Along with that goes branding. It is also important sometimes to shake up the first thought that comes when you hear about a brand, especially when you are making a huge technology innovation and bringing up a new product. Build a brand around it. Change the customer, how the customer views this brand as something a completely different technology. And so what goes with the branding is building the right message underneath it. What is the value proposition? How would a customer differentiate this brand from another brand? If there is confusion, then it's a trap. You are going to fall into that, and you're going to cause more confusion to the customer. So it's really important that you brand it separately and you call out what this brand stands for, how is it different from this, what are the technology underneath that, what is the value proposition, what is the value to the customer, etc. So I think branding is a huge aspect for marketing as they think about technology, innovation, etc.
Yeah, and if y'all want to see a good campaign, a really amazing branded campaign, y'all go over here and look at the Flowserve's RedRaven campaign. Deepak has been part of that. I know he's modest and doesn't want to talk about it, but a huge campaign that I was honored to be a part of and be able to share. And it really did kind of make you think about the product in a different way. Like, this is revolutionary, basically. And that's what we are trying to do, is to create that change and move forward. So I'm excited to share this with everybody. And, I can't wait to see what's next for you.
Yeah, we are really RedRaven has really been a huge launch for us, and we the way the customer has adopted RedRaven and the type of inquiries that we are receiving, everybody's so excited about it. They're very curious about it. We are receiving so many inquiries about, hey, how you thought about RedRaven? It's so unique, and it is it's like it really adds to that excitement to want to know what exactly is RedRaven, how is it related to the offerings that RedRaven stands for. And when we are able to tell the story about how RedRaven applies to the IoT products that we are offering, and everybody is in awe. They are like, "Wow, this is excellent. This is a revolutionary new way of branding a product, and how you come up with a name for your brand and how you tell a story about it." I think all that has played a part in the wide acceptance of RedRaven. For me to stand here, that from the day we launched RedRaven, which is January, till today, the number of customer inquiries that we are receiving is numerous. It has really turned a new chapter for Flowserve, and I am very proud to be a part of it, and also looking forward to expand on this. Right, so we are always looking at future. So what's next? How do we take RedRaven to the next level? Maybe there is an opportunity for us to look at different ways we integrate RedRaven to all of our offerings. And so there are so many different ways that we are looking at. I think innovation is considered very critical for our growth at Flowserve, and we are putting in place a lot of team members, a lot of technical leaders who are considering innovation as a primary driver for Flowserve. And RedRaven is just the beginning of that, and we are going to have many, many more innovative products and offerings into the market. So I cannot control my excitement, and when I talk about this, especially coming off of the success of RedRaven and what's in hold and what's the future like for Flowserve. So I'm very excited about where we are heading.
Yeah, I love it. And I love kind of the wisdom aspect of connecting the wisdom of the bird and the wisdom of the pump. And, it's just awesome. So if y'all want to hear the story, please contact Deepak. He's available on LinkedIn and other places, but we will put together that in the show notes. And just, thank you for being here. I've really enjoyed the conversation, and I'll give you the last word.
Thanks a lot, Charli. This has been excellent. Like I said in the beginning, the way we have been working together over the last 5-6 years has been truly inspirational. You have been a big partner for Flowserve. You have been a big supporter of Flowserve's offerings, and I want to thank you for that. And I also would like to, anybody listening to this podcast, I would highly recommend that you consider marketing as a career. Don't look at marketing as something that is an afterthought. Marketing is the core for the business growth. Marketing, you need to be a true marketer. For you to be a true marketer, a good marketer, you need to understand all facets of your business, and that gives the opportunity to open some different lanes for your career. So please, keep that in mind as you think about your career and where you want to go next. How do you want to plan your career, etc. And again, thanks a lot for this opportunity, because I have always been passionate about marketing. And when I talk to people, even in my friend circle, who all think that, marketing, it's a flashy job. And I always think that how do I tell my story about what marketing is all about? And I do that with my friends, but thanks for giving me the medium to express what I feel about marketing. And I would really love to talk more and more about this as I get opportunities. But this is great. And thanks a lot to you, Charli, for giving me the opportunity.
Well, I really love that. I mean, it is about sharing our stories and what we're passionate about. And thank goodness we have all this wonderful technology to help us do it. So it's a win. Thank you again. And we'll have some additional opportunities to talk sales and marketing. Absolutely. That's for sure.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
And we're back. Charli, Deepak, thank you so much for joining us. That was a wonderful interview. And, let us know what you thought. Tweet us or tag us on social media about this interview so we can share your thoughts on it, have a discussion.
Yeah, so excited to hear back from you, because it's a staple, campaign, awesome topic about marketing and what we need to do for the marketing industry, and to be at the table, right, when we're making big decisions, because It's important. So I guess with that, it brings us to the end of the show. Thanks for listening.
Do us a favor, subscribe, rate and review the podcast, iTunes, YouTube. We're on YouTube I haven't specifically mentioned that, I don't think, the past couple episodes. But, we're plugging that. So go check us out there and leave us a comment there as well.
If you don't, we'll quit recording this and then you won't be able to see us. I'm totally kidding. Totally kidding. Okay. So you can always reach us at Empowering Pumps or using the hashtag Empowering Industry Podcast. Email us at podcast@empoweringpumps.com. Yeah.
And we'll be back every Monday with a new episode.
So until then, be empowering,